What's up, Miss Kelly? How are you today?
I'm good. It's Podcast Thursday.
God, you love saying that. And we also have, hi, Camille.
Can I also, just before we introduce Camille, let everybody know that you two called each other and said, wear yellow, and stuck me as the fucking bumblebee in the middle here?
We didn't call each other. It was just a vibe. Clearly, you are not on our level, Kelly.
I'm in my dark era, and you two are sunshine.
We're in our sunshine era. Thank you very much.
Anyway,
Okay.
Camille is here. Who is Camille? We have a guest. I'm so excited.
It's our first guest, guys. So, Camille, we might have to do more podcasts with you when we actually know what we're doing. But Camille Smith is a dear family friend, but she is also a bona fide influencer.
Oh my God.
The thing everyone wants to be these days. And she's also a stay-at-home mama. So she doesn't work because stay-at-home moms don't really do any work. Right, Camille? You don't really do any work?
Nothing.
That's why you look so rested. You're like, I've done nothing for years. We're doing the mom life pivot you never saw coming. We did the midlife plot twists. Now we're doing the mom life plot twists. Camille has a whole story of the big pivots.
She does. But first, Camille, how many kids do you have? What are their ages?
3. My oldest is 4, my middle child is 2, and my youngest is 10 months. And they all have birthdays next month in July.
Okay, so Camille, just a quick math question here. What kind of slutty pirate or slutty whore were you dressing up as every Halloween that prompted July babies every time? Or your husband just has a fetish for stockings?
I'm usually a Disney character because we do family magazine.
Okay, that's a different podcast. We had to talk to your husband about that. What the hell?
Disney characters. I mean,
He
there's some
does.
hot Disney characters.
I know, but you have 3 kids under 4, so I'm sure you watch a lot of Disney. Maybe don't let your husband watch. Maybe you watch with him. 3 under 4. 3 under 4. So net, Camille has not slept through the night since 2001.
Camille, we
Yes.
like to talk, clearly. So what we're going to have to do now is come up with a safe word for you to say when you want Kelly and I just to shut the heck up and let you talk. I am now thinking the word is Disney character, or it's a phrase, but I think we say Disney.
Or Bumblebee, given the way I am looking at our screen.
Bumblebee it is.
There we go.
Bumblebee it is. Okay, so Camille, tell us a little bit about you, kind of how you got to this place in your life.
Okay. Well, after I graduated college, I was a kindergarten teacher for about 4 years. My husband and I got married, and then shortly after we got married, a couple months later, COVID hit, and I was also pregnant with our first child, our daughter Samira. And I kind of went back and forth between the next year, like staying at home with her or just teaching. I really had a good groove of teaching. I was comfortable. I was the team lead. I loved it. I was afraid I wouldn't enjoy staying at home, but he encouraged me to try it out at least a year. So I did it and I loved it. And I posted a video of Samira in May 2020. It was of her trying a line and it went viral. And I posted on TikTok. And my cousins had been begging me for years to make a TikTok. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to learn a new app. I want to stick with what I know. But like going viral was fun. So I just kept posting just more genuine, natural videos. I wasn't trying to do any acting or skits. I was just posting stuff from, being a mom with my daughter, my husband, and myself. And things kind of just kept rolling. My mother-in-law was like, you should try to like make this like into a business. Do it seriously. Make extra money for, the family. I kept going. I was getting offers from agencies so they could represent me. And I said, no, I just want to do it on my own. I wasn't really making any income. I would get a couple like deals from small things like razors or baby products. And I would just do it on my own, but it wasn't very profitable. It'd be very low amounts because with these agencies and these brands, when you aren't represented and you don't know, you'll just take kind of any dollar. I didn't know I could be getting a lot more based off my how many followers I have. So 2 years ago, actually, I have another friend who was on a TV show, on a reality show. She told me, like, Camille, you need to get an agent. I was like, I've had offers, but I'm just afraid I don't really know much about it. And she said, they only make money if you make money. They're going to want you to make more money so they can make money. So that's kind of when I found an agency and things really got it rolling. now I consider myself an influencer. My husband says I'm not one until I have 1 million followers on at least one platform. I have 1 million if you add them all up, but he's like, you're not a real one yet. So I'm still working at it, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Like,
AJ,
I
AJ.
can't wait. Wait for you to rub that in his nose one day.
Also, I think over 300,000 followers is pretty phenomenal. I mean,
I agree. I think the moment somebody who, is in a company that makes money for a living is ready to pay you, you are an influencer.
and especially one of I of course follow you, but one of the things I love so much about your content is it's not selling sex actually. And so if you look at a lot of influencers, right, there's the very top ones and the younger, the younger generation, there's a lot of just being sexy. And Camille, you're sexy. Like, come on, let's be real. But I love that it's real content. Like it's funny, it's genuine, and it's about family life, which I think is such a great thing to have, to be quite honest, in this country right now, and just showing a very like beautiful family life with all these kids, because you have three under five, man. How do you do that?
I didn't know I wanted a big family until I lost my mom and brother at a young age. So, like for me, I guess I considered myself an orphan for a little bit after my mom passed, because I just wasn't in a big family. So I never want my kids to feel like that when AJ and I go, or they'll always have each other. So that's a big reason why we have so many kids. Sometimes I'm screaming on the inside, but everyone who sees me parenting, they're like, "You're always so calm. You're so patient." And that's just a really big compliment, because that's all I want my kids to see and to feel that from me.
And you have experience with little people in their ways because you were a teacher.
Yeah. A kindergarten. Listen, full disclosure, I first went to school to be a teacher. In my brain, I was like, you know what? I want to be a French teacher. And then I realized I don't like other people's children. So that's probably not for me, but good for you, kindergarten teacher. I do have a question for you. When you first decided you were not going back to teaching after your daughter was born, I think there's still a mom bias, a stay-at-home mom bias. Did you experience that either in your former colleagues or other people in your community or family when you said, I'm not going back to work, where they were like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I think some of my former colleagues are like, "So when are you coming back to work? Like, you're just gonna take another year? Like, how long is this gonna last?" And I honestly did plan on going back to work until I kind of became an influencer, because now I actually have an income that makes more than I did teaching. So now I don't have a need to go back to work. And like you said, teach other people's children. Like, I would rather teach my own children, which is why I'm gonna homeschool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of teacher salaries and, can we talk about the cost of daycare? Like, talk about a barrier to going back to work, right?
That's another huge thing. My whole paycheck would be eaten up by daycare for 3 kids. That'd be my entire paycheck. So I'd be working so someone else can take care of them.
I think that honestly, people make they do this, knowing that you're going to work for the next 25 years, and you see the first 5 years where your kids are not in full-time school as this like financial break even only. I am going back to pay for daycare. And then once they're back in school, then I'm back to making an income that is actually contributing to the future. But it shocks me what kind of daycare costs there are out there where that's even a consideration. Do the math. Should I go back? Whoa, sorry.
Someone's fired. It's Kelly. Shocking. Shocking. Kelly is the one with the bad etiquette. It's actually usually me, because I'll forget to silence everything. Okay, so silence everything. So on that note, just around the daycare thing, I'll just, for fun, I one time sat down. I like to do random math, like math on my hair and how much that's cost in my lifetime. I have like a friggin' beach home in Florida on my head. A decade ago it was a Lexus. Now I'm like, damn, it's even worse. But when you look at the cost of daycare, I told my kids, and I did this math. Each one of my children cost me $75,000 in childcare before they went to kindergarten.
That is so much money.
And don't judge me, people, I'm a bargain shopper for a lot of things. Like I didn't go to the like, oh, our kids go to Harvard from here, and this is the basis for like I went to like, where did I feel comfortable with the teachers? Where did I like the people? And that's like basically it. I don't think you need to be a freaking genius by the time you get out of, pre-K. But 75,000 a piece, Camille. And again, and
Please, you didn't say that earlier.
oh yeah, a piece. Each one of them,
You did
75K
kindergarten. Oh
before
God.
kindergarten. So
I
what?
remember.
That's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna do math.
150K. Oh,
150.
150. I do remember at one point, people who were taking their kids to Montessori at 6 months or whatever. I mean, obviously, I'm coming from Canada, where I'm very fortunate to have long maternity leaves, but they would go to Montessori, and it was so cost prohibitive between home daycare and Montessori. You're like, well, I'm not going to spend that kind of money. But nowadays, I think they're almost at parity. You could either send them to a formal like school type thing when they're kiddos, or home daycare, and it's almost a wash. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just like, wow, this good for the home daycare providers that they're getting paid for what they do, but it's a real challenge. I can't even imagine it. So think of the money you're saving, Camille. You should be able to use that money towards self-care then. That seems like good girl math.
That's good girl math.
Tell your husband, look at what I'm saving. I'm going to go get a spa treatment.
What's your best girl math moment with AJ? Like where he's like, what? And you're like, yeah, duh.
When I return something to Amazon and you get the credit back to your Amazon account and I buy something, in my head, that's free. I got that for free.
I know, because you commit. This is totally normal because you already committed to spend on the other thing.
Yes, it's just anytime I get a refund and I spend it again, that was free.
As a Amazon like crazy user, there's also a button that says refund to your card.
I'd rather go back to my account because I know I'm going to spend something else again.
Don't tell AJ, but it's there. I mean, it's hidden because Amazon wants to keep your money. We don't care what it is you have. But yeah, I should do the credits. I'm unfortunately like, that's going back to my bank account. And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty. Let me order that 2 seconds later.
Exactly. Let's be a big girl. Nah, let's not. Hey, a question for you, Camille, then, with 3 kids under 5. You, in this world, how much do you use things like Amazon and grocery delivery and stuff versus hauling 3 tiny asses in the car every day? I feel like I would never leave the house and everything would come to me every day.
Yeah, all the time. I'm Amazon and groceries. Groceries once a week, Amazon pretty much every day. We do go out and do things a lot, but like grocery shopping is just too much. Trying to get the groceries in the car, making sure the kids are there safely. Like once you have over 2, it's just too much. I do attempt it though sometimes.
Really? You're like, I need this urgently. I can't get it on Amazon. God damn it, get in the car, kids.
Yeah.
What is the worst meltdown your kids have had in a grocery store?
Ooh, we should each have to answer this.
My kids don't really
Or what was
meltdowns.
Kelly?
No?
Bumblebee.
My kids don't really have meltdowns. I can't even name one. They really don't. Like they're very like if I say it's time to go, or we're not going to buy this. They're okay. I usually will use the line like maybe for Christmas, maybe for your birthday. That kind of saves me from meltdowns.
Okay, so are you writing a parenting book that I can use? Because
it's a podcast, but if you were watching, you would have seen Chrissy and I make the exact same face when she said, my kids don't have meltdowns.
What? Okay, I'll tell you mine because it's the most recent. It was Mother's Day, of course. And I had I was recovering from a hysterectomy and wasn't maybe my normal cheerful self. So we had to go get flowers for all the soccer moms because I do that. And then also Presley wanted beef stroganoff, which, okay, it's Mother's Day, but let's do what you want, babe. We went into the store and these two, so my son's 6 and Presley's 10. My son Colton, I use his name, whatever. So we're in the grocery store and they are just fighting like little cats and dogs. And Presley takes the cart and shoves it at Colton and he goes like flying backwards. And I'm like, you and you. I'm like, if you guys are going to act like toddlers, stand in the corner. I made them stand in the corner in the grocery store. And Presley's like, I'm so embarrassed right now. I was like, do you not think that was embarrassing? Is it embarrassing to anyways? I'm back to Amazon and having everything delivered. They're not appropriate for public.
That's right. You're not coming with me. I think mine are just the traditionals temper tantrum in these are all grocery store moments, which is why you should never probably go with them. Same thing. And I just left Brady in the middle of the aisle. Cried out, buddy. See you later. I'll be 2 aisles over. Now, he's 26, so there was a far less likely chance he was going to be stolen from the grocery store than today. But in the moment, that was his full meltdown.
But also, who steals kids that are melting down? Let's be
True.
honest.
Ooh, give me that one. That one looks like a good one. I mean, he turned out okay.
You have these very calm children. Give us like 5 things, or maybe 2. I don't know. What do you do as a mom that you think contributes to, because I've been around your kids. You got good kids that contributes to, I don't know, them being, they listen, they're calm. Like, what do you attribute to that, you think?
I definitely think my husband and I are calm. He's definitely more excitable than I am and has much louder tone and voice. He's a dad, the dads are the fun ones. But I'd say the biggest thing would be like no screens. I think that
Okay.
really contributes to their calming mood. Like they wake up and they go get 10 books for me to read. They play with it. They have a whole bunch of toys, regular toys, horsies, cars, Barbies, Polly Pockets, the stuff I grew up with.
Yeah, I was going to say what we did as kids.
Yeah, so it's not a super overstimulating environment at our house at all. We'll go on walks in the morning. Like we do things that are, I feel like, really calming, and I think that definitely contributes to how well behaved they are. They do have their moments. They're not perfect, but I think that's why they act the way they do.
Your kids, but also, so no screen time. Is that no screen time total? Like no cartoons, or is it no iPads?
So it's no iPads, tablets, phones. We will watch a movie occasionally. We've been trying to like start a family tradition of family movie nights where each of us takes a turn picking a movie. We get popcorn from the theater, bring it home. We'll watch whatever that person picks. But like the TV's really not on all day until my husband gets home from work and he puts on like a basketball or football game. But we don't need it. They don't need it.
I am still trying to reconcile that you said they bring 10 books for me to read. I was like,
Do you
time
put
is
Xanax
this?
in your coffee? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, is this 6 a.m.? Is this 10 a.m.? What are we working with here?
What time do they get up?
6:30.
Fuck no. You're a
But they
Wonder
go to bed
Woman.
at p.m/7:30, so I get a little bit of me time.
Is everyone in your house sleeping through the night?
Yes. Surprisingly. The bags are starting to go away finally, so we'll sleep through the night.
And
Oh,
so,
no.
do you feel that your family is complete? Or are we going to add another calm little person to this mix?
I
Are we
heard the
gonna
fourth
roll the
baby is
dice?
the craziest one.
I'm sorry, what, Camille?
I heard the
Bumblebee.
fourth baby is the craziest one. My friends said like the third one's easy, chill, the fourth one's feral and crazy. But it's
Exactly.
still up to my husband and God.
You're rolling the dice. She's like, I've done 3 really good ones. Something's got to give here.
Well,
We'll have her back on.
October's coming up. I'm gonna send you the most sultry Minnie Mouse costume there is. Do they have Disney character lingerie? I'm sure they do.
Slutty Cinderella, here she comes. We'll have her back on in July. She'll be like, that was a terrible idea.
Tricked out Tiana. Here we go. Oh no, I kind of feel bad about myself having said that. Tiana, I love you. I love you. So
Well,
where do you find time to create content? Like you have
Yeah.
3 under 5, you don't use tablets, you barely use the TV. Where do you, like, you could create some great content. Like it's super funny and cool and hilarious and touching.
Well, you must
sometimes
be recording during the day, them, right? They'd be doing funny stuff that you'd be getting content, would you not? Is that part of your day?
Yes. I feel like my content kind of started with like stuff like that, and it's kind of evolved into just like different ideas AJ and I will get that we think are relatable. So yeah, I will record a little bit during the day, but mostly it's at night. Like I'll brainstorm for ideas and wait until AJ's in a good mood to film something because either he wants to or he doesn't. And that's something else that I think stands out from our content. You'll see a lot of big creators, their husbands are always happy, always smiling.
Yeah.
Bringing them bouquets of flowers and balloons. Some of that is a little bit staged. You're never going to get there with AJ. If he's pissed off, he's going to look pissed off in the video. If he's grumpy, he's only grumpy in the video. So it's always very real.
I think that's great because that feels less like doing it for the gram and more like, no, this is actually real life. It's not a sunshine and roses.
Well, it's funny because, we work in marketing, and one of the shifts that we've seen is a whole lot less aspirational. Like people don't want to see, the person no one could ever be, right? That can't possibly be real reflected back to them. So I think it makes your content more engaging. And some of the things, like one of my favorites that you guys do, well, you do a lot of ones, but I love when you all do the kids are in bed, high five, go your separate ways, because I think that is such a universal truth. Like at some point, and I'll shut up now, but like talk to me about that one a little bit because it is a universal truth. And I think it's hysterical every time you guys do it.
I feel like so what she's talking about, Kelly, is basically like when the kids are in bed, we go our separate ways. He goes to game. I usually go to watch a trashy show like Love Island or read a thriller novel. I think after one kid, it wasn't so much like that, but as we have more, like there's less of like we're giving ourselves so much to each child, so we crave and need that time to just him to yell at his friends on Call of Duty, me to watch a trash show.
Turn your brain off.
And not to say we still try to go on weekly date nights. We always do our date nights when the kids are in bed. We'll get a sitter to come sit at the house and we go to them, see a movie, go bowling, whatever. So we definitely still have time for us, but we also need just me time where it's quiet. No one's calling mommy or daddy.
That's awesome.
It's the
Yeah.
best.
I do. I did see somebody post once about kids who sleep through the night and asked, why do we make them go to bed at 7 just so they're getting up at 6? We could get them to go to bed at 10 and they'd sleep till lunch. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, oh, that's not bad. But then your me time's in the morning. And if your husband's going off to work, then it doesn't work. This way, at least, that me time happens when you two are both still awake. And let's face it, I'd be watching that Love Island from my own bed with a glass of wine. I would just be like, I'm just going to lie down now.
Ordering a pizza. One of my other favorites that they do is the dump dinners.
We haven't done that in a while. Have you heard of that?
Like it used to make me go, it made me crave food from not my house. So why haven't you been doing them, Camille? They're interesting.
No, I feel
What's a dump dinner? Can we back up? What's a dump dinner?
So a dump dinner, you've probably seen this before. You started off with just people like making spaghetti, the noodles, the sauce, and you just pour it like on your table. And the kids can eat, no plates. We kind of elevated it and we would go to Taco Bell and order 20 tacos or Chick-fil-A and get 100 nuggets. He would dump it on the table, and at the time, only my daughter was old enough to eat with us. My second born was still too young. So we would just like cheer for him as he pours it on the table, and then we'd pray and then eat. And those kind of went viral. We did people would just give us restaurants, Sonic, Subway, sushi, and we just kind of did all of them.
Oh, nice.
I didn't see the sushi one. That's kind of...
Yeah, we did that twice.
Really? I need to go find that. I don't know how I feel about the sushi one. I'm not going to lie. That
was
one
like, he didn't dump it. He kind of placed it because, sushi's made so nice.
Breaks apart.
Yeah, I was like, I just see a bunch of California rolls that turned into like seaweed, rice. There's sauce everywhere, and it looks super unappetizing.
Yeah, exactly. Deconstructed sushi dinner. Oh, that's cute though. It's like is it a crab boil where you just do the same thing and you've got the bit you dump it on the table? I like that. I take it your dining area is not carpeted underneath it because it's like a bad idea.
It's not. And then we eventually also would put tablecloths first, and then he would dump it, and then when we're done, you just roll the tablecloth
Scoop it all up
and trash.
Dead body. Get out of here. Yes.
Dead body. Kelly,
Did you think we were going to bring a beautiful influencer on here and I was going to change?
No, I knew you weren't. I definitely knew you weren't gonna change. What has been the most rewarding part of being an influencer for you?
Probably the moms that will message me and just say thank you so much for sharing this or sharing that. Like that was really helpful. Sometimes I will share some things I use. Like one of a huge video that went viral is like a child safety lock that we put on our front door. So my daughter, when she turned 3, she learned how to unlock the door. I've heard horror stories of kids unlocking the door and going to the street. I never want that to happen. So I just shared that. And all these moms was like, thank you so much. Like, I bought that. And, some influencers will share so they can make money off of that, like with affiliate links. But I really don't do that. I kind of just share, honestly, to help someone else. I think that's one of the best things about social media. You can help someone or be helped based off what you see.
I love that you did that. So, Angela, who lives next door to Camille. When they first moved in, and my kids, we went down to Texas because Camille Harold's from Arlington, Texas right now, right? And so she has a pool, and like I brought the little ding thing with me, like to put at the very top. You know how they have their door
like a bell?
dings every time you go out the back door? Yeah, that's mine. I bought that. So I love like sharing those, safety tricks because it just helps mamas sleep better. Have you received any haters?
Yes, a lot. There are sometimes AJ and I will post things that we think are funny. Other people think it's funny too, but there's there's always going to be haters. Always.
Yeah.
The most recent would be I posted a video of AJ holding our 10-month-old Salil, and they were eating. AJ had a Chick-fil-A ice cream cone, and he was not sharing it with Salil because he's a baby. He drools, and he was just like not sharing it. And it went viral because Salil was like so sad. It's a baby wanting ice cream and the daddy's not sharing. Oh, he's a terrible father. That's horrible. Share with your baby. Well, and the same thing, like 2 days later, I posted the next part because the same day AJ shared with him, obviously. And Salil took the whole ice cream cone, and it was slobbering all over it. And that also went viral. And then it was like, oh, I guess he did share. So
How do you, can I ask on that? And I'm sure you've had it since you started hate because, influence goes in both directions. Has your reaction to it changed in the 4 years that you've been doing this, or how do you ignore it? What do you do?
my notifications are off. That's a big thing. So I don't really see it unless I go and look for it. And then, like you said, I also ignore it. Like some people will send me like, "Hey, did you see someone said this?" And I don't know. I kind of respond to the first few comments that people post, and after that, I just let it do what it does.
Yeah. I feel like, so much of social media is about the dopamine, right? Like, oh, the likes and the great comments and you're so beautiful. And I have a teenage daughter, and so different phase of life on the internet. But the flip side is real, right? I have a friend whose son is a very famous hockey player, and I will send her things that I've seen about him and say, "Hey, have you seen this?" And she said, "No, I don't read anything about him because people either love him or hate him, and I don't want to read about my kiddo." And it's just, I'm glad that you have them off and you ignore them, because I don't know what, you can't make everybody happy. You'll make nobody happy anyways.
Very true.
Amen. When people tell me their marketing segment is everyone, I'm like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. I have a question, Camille. When you first started to, get advice about this could really take off, like, here's what you should do. How much of your friends or family community were against what you were doing, or maybe not against it, but very negative towards it? Like, this is never going to work for you. Because I know Christy and I, when we first started the podcast, it wasn't for influence or fame or anything. That'd be great. If we turned into Call Her Daddy podcast, that'd be amazing. But we were doing it more for ourselves as a creative outlet and an opportunity. And if people get entertained, amazing. But what was it like for you when it first started and you started to go in earnest with posting and trying to put a brand or a platform together? Were you surprised or disappointed or elated? What was the reaction?
I don't feel like anyone really told me how they felt about it, but as you get bigger on social media, you'll see like your audience. When you post things, you can see who likes it. I would say strangers probably support me more than people I actually know. And it's just funny how that works. I just think sometimes people that it kind of makes them a little bit salty to see you doing this. I've had friends say, "Hey, like, how do you do this?" A lot of moms who've just had babies have reached out to me from college. "I want to be an influencer. I want to stay at home like you. Can you tell me?" And I will tell them everything I do. Just consistently find a time with your audience, check your metrics. Don't be afraid to post cringe. Like, I give them a whole list of everything I did because no one told me how to do it. I kind of figured it out. And they
Yeah.
can take it from there. But it's very strange how, like, sometimes I feel like strangers support me more than actual friends.
I think you're 100% right. I think there's a little bit of competitiveness, jealousy, whatever it is within your circle. That's like, I love you and I want you to be successful, but maybe not, because secretly I'd love to be doing that. And I'm too scared to, or whatever. And strangers, if they have a dream of being an influencer, rooting for the underdogs, going, "Yeah, come on, girl, you can do it." Because you'd hope for the same.
Yeah.
And even just like, I think getting to know a fictional character, right? Like, so if you don't know Camille and you watch this content, you get a very good sense of who she is. I mean, her content matches who she is, in my humble opinion. But I think, it's easier for people that don't know you to live in the fantasy of what you post than it is for people that know you, right? I think other than being an influencer, you're inspiration. I see you do funny things or great things with your kids, and I'm like, that's a great idea, And so I think the wider audience is not necessarily people who want to be influencers, but people that want just to enjoy your content and like feel like they have a friend who makes them laugh, makes them cringe sometimes and then laugh. But I think that's, at least for me, like, I'm sure you have a lot of people saying, how do you do this, Camille? And you're like, I don't know. You do it with a spice of Camille sauce and post all the time. But I don't know, just a thought. I think that the content is relatable enough to make you feel like a friend. So when you have those nights that are lonely and you're up with your baby and you can't sleep or whatever, to be able to tap into something that is genuine and authentic and wholesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelly's like, what? Go ahead.
No, I
Go
like
ahead.
it. I have a follow-up question because I have this actually two-part question. Being a mom feels like you have to be everything for everyone, right? We have mom guilt and the mental load of being a mom and a wife. And if you've got a job, you've got that extra mental load. Have you felt that obligation or load to the community of your followers? How much does that sit in your brain? And the second part of the question is, as your kids get older, what do you think that's going to look like? Are they going to be like, Mom, gross, don't post me? Because God knows our kids do. What are your thoughts around that mental load of that community that is here to watch you and how that might change?
So with your first question, you said, like, do I feel an obligation to my followers? When you say that, do you mean like to post, to give them content, or what do you mean when you say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, to post, to be engaging or fun or whatever. Maybe you're having a bad month. What does that look like when you have that kind of a community waiting to see what you'll do next or what's new from Camille?
I say I would always, no matter how I'm feeling, I still try to post like a real everyday. Stories, though, that really is based off my mood. Like if I'm kind of feeling down or mom burnout, I'm not going to post everything we're doing that day. It's going to be maybe just a book review. If I'm feeling good and my energy's high and I got a good night of rest, I'll probably share more of like what we did for homeschool and activities we're doing that day. So I'd say reels always going to be posted, but stories kind of based on how I'm feeling as a mom.
And then in the future, when your kids are, if your eldest turns 12 and is like, Mom, gross, don't put me in these stories. I don't want to be part of this. Like, what is that? Have you thought that far ahead?
I haven't, but now that you've said that, if she says that, I would definitely respect her wishes. That's her privacy.
Yeah.
I will not post her anymore. I'd be fine with that. It's supposed to me and AJ.
Yeah, it's true. You could do that pivot into just married life and you just don't include the kids or just Camille. And sorry, AJ, counseling.
Listen, AJ's a doll, okay?
Hey, I don't know, AJ.
Let's talk about, I mean, he's not perfect, I'm sure, but he's pretty great. He's also a football coach. So talk to us about football season, because it's a whole different ball game. How do you survive football season?
Football season has been hell in the beginning. It's gotten better, but we always have a baby in July. Football season starts August. He doesn't take paternity leave. He doesn't want to miss anything. So I have a newborn, and they're strapped to my chest, and we're going to the games in 100-degree weather. It's just, but I'm used to it at this point. I could stay at home and keep up with the score on my phone, but that's the only time I get to see him. The only time my kids get to see him during football season really is after the game. They get that couple minutes to see daddy. So I make the sacrifice.
How are they at the game?
They're
Are
great.
they,
They're so
they're excited to be there?
excited. They
Yeah.
love it. They're so used to it. They're little football kids, coaches' kids for sure.
And they're
Well,
super cute. So, like, everyone in the stands wants to pass them around.
I was going to say, you could
Yeah.
probably get a few extra hands in there if you take them there. Everybody,
Yeah.
I'll hold them.
I mean,
That's
they're
cool.
gorgeous. So there's that. And they're well behaved too. They're not throwing down fits every 30 seconds, which is also fun and makes me think maybe I did something wrong with my children.
Come on. Okay.
I'm
Can I
just
ask a
kidding.
question? I have a follow-up question from our podcast last week. I had a discussion, Camille, with a girlfriend of mine who has a 1-year-old. And on his 1-year birthday, she made a smash cake with 0 sugar because she said the pediatricians recommend no sugar before 18 months. Now, I feel like I already know the answer because AJ shared his ice cream. But what is this bullshit about no sugar in 18 months? You're in the thick of this.
I've never heard
What
that. Usually it's like
Okay.
you wait until they're at least a year old. And like you said, with Lil has had ice cream. He's had sugar the earliest out of all my kids. I feel like with each kid you get a little more lenient. My
Yeah.
kid's gonna be okay. It's okay if he gets that. My other kids wait until their first birthday, till that smash cake to have some sugar.
Yeah. Some
And did
sugar.
your smash cake contain an actual cake, not just bananas and tears?
Bananas and tears.
No, real sugar.
Yes. Okay.
I'm here for it. I'm
Pour
here
one
for
for
it.
the sugar mamas.
Wait, what? Are you gonna be my sugar mama, Kelly?
I mean,
I'm here for it.
I'm here. I feel like somehow I morphed into a sugar mama and I hadn't intended it.
Okay, I have one more. Well, what's the worst thing? And then I
The
have
worst
like 3 more
thing
questions.
would be the haters. Even though I tried to ignore it in the beginning, when I had a smaller following and my notifications on, you see that, and I don't know. It's just when you see, I feel like negative comments stand out more than positive. I could have
Yeah.
30, but that one negative one is gonna be like what, you know? Yeah.
Here's a question to that. Is there a theme to the negativity? Do you know, were they mostly from other women or in general men and women?
Sometimes it's trolls, like a fake account, so you don't really know what it is. I'd say it's equal between men and women.
And was there a theme behind it? Like, was it like, that's not how you're supposed to parent kids? Or like, is it something like you're doing
It's
this
always
wrong?
about AJ. It's always saying like he's a bad husband or dad. I
In-
posted a funny, I thought it was funny video last summer when I was pregnant. AJ, you know, men take a long time in the bathroom. So my daughter and my son, we made a poster like that said we missed you and had like confetti poppers. And when he came in the bathroom, like I was filming it, I popped the confetti popper and we cheered, and he just like walked on by, didn't acknowledge us. So everyone was like, he's so rude. How could he do that to you? But like the bathroom is like his private time.
yeah.
And he told me to get away from the door. So
Well, first of all, I mean, he has to deal with that on a regular, right? Like
yeah.
that's a lot of energy when you're done taking a poop to get like, confetti thrown at you. Also, I'm going to send you several health conditions that can arise from men taking
Yeah.
too much time. Y'all are laughing.
off the
I know
toilet.
people that have issues now in their 40s because they sat on the toilet too long. So I'll get those right to you.
Okay.
Yes.
I also love your vacation posts because you travel. And I love that you travel with small children because that is a whole other podcast. But so what are some of your most recent trips and which ones have you loved? And give us the tea on the travel, like where to go when you have children travel.
So the most recent trip was we went on a Disney cruise. I would 1,000% recommend that. That was our first Disney cruise. It's just the service is on another level. Like if you want to go somewhere with children, like we go to dinner, they already have 3 waters set up. My littlest is high chair. It's just so accommodating to children. Obviously, there's nurseries. I don't really trust very many people at all with my kids, so I didn't use them at all. But like if you have older kids, they can go and you can have a date night still. So that was awesome.
We took a Disney cruise and I'm kind of a travel snob. It's advertising's fault, not mine, because I've been people have been paying for me to stay in nice places for a long time. We took our kids on a Disney cruise and I was shocked with a couple of things. One, the service. You couldn't go more than 5 feet without someone from Disney being like, "May I help you?" Right? Like if I just looked lost for half a second, there was someone there to rescue me and be like, "Hey, you're on vacation. You don't need to think that hard," which I absolutely loved. And then I loved, I don't know, which ship did you go on?
We went on the Wish. Which one did you do?
I did the Fantasy. And so we did a 7-day cruise and I loved the dinner entertainment. Like literally at the one, I just amazing to me. But at one of the dinners, we sat down and the kids filled in like a sketch, like you had the certain area to create a picture of yourself and they collected them before dinner. And during the it was Be Our Guest was playing and all these pictures on screens all over were of the
That's
actual
nice.
kids and the
The kids were watching for themselves
Yeah,
on
and
the
it was
screen.
just so cool. And so I'm with you. Like my kids are getting a little bit old for Disney. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But the Disney cruise was one of my best vacations. Okay.
I gotta ask, wait. So you said you had mom hacks that are very helpful, and women are like, "Yay!" Traveling with 3 kids on a cruise. Are you in one room or two? And what's a mom hack? You want to go to sleep dead, but you're in a room on a boat with thousands of people, and kids can sometimes leave the room. What are your mom hacks?
We're in one room, and then we got a big room, a bigger room with a veranda. So there was like you could do a split curtain, and a pull out bunk bed with a pull out sofa. They brought us a little pack and play. So me and AJ could have our own bed, and all the kids had somewhere to sleep. Yes.
I'll tell you a funny. Don't let this happen to you story. As the elder parent in this trio, we did cruises with our children as well, which I agree with you. I love because everybody can do their own thing. But one particular cruise, and our daughter would have been 4, and our sons would have been 11. That night, we were doing karaoke with all the adults, and our boys were in the teen spot, and our daughter was in the youth spot. And then we couldn't find one of our sons, still at midnight. And my husband was frantically looking through the entire boat to find our son, to the point where he had to go back to the front desk and ask for help. And they almost called a red alert on the boat to actually open everybody's room to go find our son. Eventually, 2:30 in the morning, they found our son. We tucked back into bed. We had adjoining rooms with the door open, 3 kids in one room, us in the other. 2 hours later, the phone rings. Hello, is this Mrs. Marr? I'm like, yep. And we have your daughter here at the front desk. It's 4 in the morning. And I'm like a little tipsy from karaoke. And I'm like, sorry, what? Because I knew she was in bed when I went to sleep. So my dear daughter had gotten up in the middle of the night, forgot she was in an adjoining room, and left the room to go find us. She was up on the 13th floor where the pool area was. And fortunately, somebody was sweeping the pool area, saw a little girl in her like nightie looking for her mom. And so they took her to the front desk and called our room. The same front desk who 2 hours earlier had been helping my husband try to find our son. So my husband went back to the front desk to retrieve our daughter now. And I was pretty sure when we landed in Key West the next morning that Children's Aid was going to be there to pick us up.
It's like you're the worst parents ever.
What I learned from that was that you could get that little shoehorn for the door, that when they pull the door open, it can sound an alarm. That would have been good to have that trip. So maybe that's a hack. Lock them in with a sound. They're not all winners. See, my stories are cautionary tales.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can't win all the time. What fun would it be to win if you didn't lose most of the time? No, just kidding. Just
Everybody
kidding.
likes to come back.
Everyone loves a comeback. So, Camille, what do you think is next for you? Are you going to continue this great influencer platform you have? Are you writing a book on how to make calm children? I mean, are you going to be podcasts? Like, what's your next dream? Like, if you could do anything, what's your next? I mean, after you're done having 3 under.
After you birth the football team.
What's Camille's next dream?
My dream, I have a couple of like dream brands I would love to work with, but then also I would like to be considered an influencer in my husband's eyes. So I'd really like to hit 1 million on either Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. That's
Okay.
really my big dream.
I'm going to get with AJ on that one.
Yeah,
Speaking of brands, how do you decide which brands you want to work with?
I always try to do a little bit of research. Usually brands reach out to me. So my agency will ask me for a list of people I'd like to work with. They reach out to them. And then daily I have emails come in of random brands who want to work with me. And then I kind of will do a check first to make sure they align with the things I believe in. So for example, I had a brand deal with IXL Learning. So this is a homeschool like curriculum app. And I told my my handler, I'll say my manager, that
I want a handler.
Camille, I'd have a handler too, okay? If I ever need a manager, I'm getting a handler. Let's be clear.
I told my manager that, hey, I don't think it's going to work. We don't use any screens. I'm not sure how I can promote that and still be genuine when I would never use this app. And she was like, well, let me talk to them. And they said, oh, we also have some workbooks. We would love to change it. And how about you promote the workbooks? How it would work for a homeschooling mom who doesn't use screens? So I said, okay, I'm in. So sometimes there will be times that maybe doesn't align with like what I personally like, but they will adjust because they really want to work with me.
I love that.
What's your dream brand? Would you mention them that you want to
Yeah,
be?
Disney.
Oh yeah.
Disney and Camille. We're gonna figure out how to make that happen. I mean, you have way more
Like, let's
followers.
think this, because we could go on a lot of platforms for Disney, but like if population growth for AJ, Disney obviously does it for him in the fall. Disney princesses, we could go
Oh
that
my
route.
God, Kelly.
Come on, catch up, Christy. You had to know. See, Camille has put you in a wholesome headspace 45 minutes, and I'm bringing you back to the dark side here in the middle in my black.
I was the one that brought up what was it?
Princess.
The
Yes,
princess, no, but
Tatiana.
it
Yeah,
was
Tiana, Tardy
Tardy
Tiana, or whatever.
Tiana. Tardy Tiana. Tardy Tiana.
That's probably off brand for Disney. They're
So
probably not going to go for it, but you got a lot of angles.
what is it about Disney that makes you want that brand so much? I mean, there's a lot of reasons to love Disney, but specifically for you.
It's just magical. It does sometimes some of the things I do with my kids, I feel like I get to like relive my childhood a little bit. I never went on a Disney cruise when I was little. Like they are very blessed and fortunate. And it's magical. I love seeing the magic in their eyes. They're all at different ages. Samira is really appreciative of it now that she's getting a little bit older. My boys, like Savion, who's 2, we went to on the cruise, just wow to everything. Wow, wow. And I'm saying wow too. So I feel like it's just magical no matter what your age is. And I think it's a great brand.
I agree. I think Disney is absolute magic. One of my favorite things that they have done in their evolution of their brand is the princess brand and what makes a princess and the more inclusive and don't have to be rescued by a prince. I grew up with the Disney princesses, right? Like, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, love them all. I mean, you could take them to a therapist and we got some issues. But like I love how Disney has evolved the Disney princesses to be about more than just waiting for their prince to come save them. And they were one of the first brands to really do that. And so for me, I'm just like right on. We can have stories as women that don't include a prince, right? Like Moana. Who's the prince? There's no prince.
Merida from Brave, she doesn't want a prince.
I have a real funny story about Merida. So we took Presley when she was 5, took her to Disney World, and we had this magical experience because there was supposed to be, we were down there actually because her dad had tickets to see Chiefs in Jacksonville, the Chiefs opening in game at Jacksonville, and his buddy lived down there, whatever. I'm like, we're bringing Presley, we're going to Disney. And there was a massive hurricane that was supposed to come through, so everyone canceled. So we got the Magic Kingdom empty.
That's
And when I
amazing.
say empty, I mean Presley and I rode the Little Mermaid ride, which is very popular, like 7 times before we got off of it. And we could have kept going. There was
It's
no
usually
lines.
wait.
It was before COVID, so all the princesses are touching her and like hugging her and taking pictures with her. Presley thinks that's what Disney is. I'm like, that's not what not Disney World is. But Merida was relatively newer, right? And so we met Merida, and Presley's like, "Are you going to be at the princess dinner tonight in Cinderella's castle?" And this salty little actress was like, I haven't been invited to the Prince's Castle yet. I think maybe someday if I decide to have a prince, I'll get invited. I'm not really sure. And it made me like, of course, Presley was like enamored by it, but I was like, man, you play your character well, because that's exactly what Merida would have said. She'd have been like, well, I'll go shoot my dinner. Anyways, neither here nor there. Okay. Oh my gosh, Kelly, can we ever have a podcast that doesn't last an hour?
No, it's just our new timing. I think we need to get over this expectation to keep it under an hour.
So in closing, 2 things for you, Camille. First one is for anyone wanting to be an influencer, what's your playbook? What's your top 5 things you'd tell them to do and to expect?
Do post consistently every day. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to be cringe.
We nailed that, by the way. We nail that every week.
Figure out and study your audience, and then also just have fun. I love what you said earlier about how some people watch our content to enjoy it. That's my biggest goal. Life can be really hard. I know that personally. So I love to keep my content light, keep it funny, and just show like love and laughter. AJ and I didn't grow up with dads, either of us. We had single moms. So it can be rare sometimes to see a Black family with a mom and a dad. And I'm so happy our children get to have an experience. And I love to showcase that as well.
I love that so much. I forgot my other question.
Thank you.
That's,
I love
I
it.
mean, like, Kelly, you get to ask the final question because I'm about to cry.
No, I love this idea of just being consistent and keep hustling. And, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. You didn't have 300,000 followers overnight, right? It took time and consistency. And I think for other people who aren't sure, what's the worst that can happen? If you've curated this story of your family growing up over years and it goes nowhere, it's always a scrapbook of your life for the kids. I think, you know, if your mom and dad disappear in their 80s, please, you know, you get to go back and look at this and look at all these experiences. I think as the third child, I have 2 photos of myself as a youngster. That's it.
Middle of 9. I don't even know if one
You have
exists
none.
of me.
Yeah, exactly. So while you're sharing this with everybody to enjoy and be light, and I love that, you're sharing it with your future selves too, and your kids' future selves, and all of that. So I think that's super cool. And then that you're roasting your husband for long poops is just a bonus.
I mean, it's what everyone does. Let's be real. I mean, I don't know a single dad that doesn't take a long time in the bathroom. I'm just saying. But I am going to send a list to you and AJ of all the potential health problems that's going to cause him later. So
Let him
because
know.
listen, I'm on it. Like I already have it. It's on my to-do list.
Public service.
Public
You're
service
welcome.
announcement, don't stay on the pot too long. You're going to have problems when you're in your 40s and 50s. So Camille, we're going to let you do the sign off if you want to.
This is like, what do you want me to sign up?
Will you say
just,
goodbye,
you know,
like, follow, share? I don't know. And then something, you know, just anything. You do you.
You do you.
Okay, it was so much fun talking with you guys. And let's do this again in 1 year and see if there's another baby.
That's right. And we do that, and we put the Halloween costume that was the baby starter
Yes.
goals.
We're gonna have a whole freaking video and with outfits for you to pick from is what we're gonna do. Maybe
I'm gonna go back in Camille's Instagram at the Halloween time, because I'm sure you put family Halloween costumes on, and in the years pre each baby, I'm gonna look and see what was it that did it for AJ. Which did it?
Well, with baby on it was Jasmine.
well, that's a classic. Give me a baby costume.
I'm telling you, you're gonna get this Disney brand deal, no problemo.
We're gonna make calls. We're gonna figure it out. Well, Camille, thank you so much for your time. Guys listening, thank you for your time. We are vertically unstable, clearly,
For so many
reasons. Like, follow, and share, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Have a great week. Thanks, Camille.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.